ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ. O gods, may we hear auspicious words with the ears. May we see auspicious things with the eyes. While engaged in actions, may we see all things auspicious. May we live this life realizing it to the spiritual emancipation or raising it to the level of the holy ones. This is our live online class 5 on chapter 1 of Mandukya Upanishad. I would like to recapitulate a few points very quickly from our last classes. This Upanishad gives realization of at least the 4 things. Who we really are. Then what value this relative world has in relation to our own existence. Then what our duties or dharma and rights or adhikara would be in this world. And what way we will be able to realize our own self or the purpose of our life. How does this Upanishad do it? It does it in 2 parts. The first 7 mantras do the analysis of the 3 states of our being: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Why do I do this? The answer is, once I do this, I will be out of all suffering by knowing that our suffering actually belongs to the 3 states. And number 2, the last 5 mantras of the Upanishad deal with Omkara Vichara or meditation on Om. What is the real meaning of Om? It is the means or a technique to realize what has been said in the first part of the Upanishad. We are studying the first chapter. This chapter has all the 12 mantras of this Upanishad. In this chapter, the Upanishad part has the main attention. A Upanishad is called an Agama. So this first part of this Upanishad is named Agama Prakarana. The word Agama actually means that which has come down to us through the tradition of Guru and disciple from time immemorial. As per our promise, we shall now deal with 3 mantras separately. Mantra number 1 and 2 and mantra number 7. And also give the gist of other important topics in between. Today I shall discuss the first and the second mantras of the Upanishad. Then in our next class, I shall take up discussion on Upanishad mantra numbers 3 to 7 with a detailed study of the seventh mantra, which may be carried over to the next class. Anyway, we now go directly into the Upanishad. That is the first mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. Let me just chant this first mantra. Om ityetat aksharam idam sarvam tasyopavyakhyanam bhutam bhavad bhavishyat iti sarvam Omkara eva. So it is saying Om is a sound or a monosyllable word or the imperishable reality or Brahman. Om is everything in this universe. How? Every created thing or object has a name. All the names are represented by Om. Om is a combination of three Sanskrit letters, A, U, First two are vowels and the last one is consonant without ending with a vowel. So A, U, As I have mentioned, A plus U. A when joined with U, it will become O in Sanskrit. Like Nara, Uttama. Nara, U, A, U, it will be Narottama, O. And O plus equal to Om. You cannot say Om, but you have to say Om. A, U, Ma together makes this Om. The Italian genius Leonardo da Vinci is famous for, among other things, his drawing of the Vitruvian Man. It was around 1490 AD. He drew the anatomical section of human throat around that time, that is 1490 AD. It is said that he engaged grave robbers and secretly stole dead bodies from graves. Then he dissected them to know the anatomy of different parts of a human body. This way he came to know of the anatomy of the section from the teeth going down to larynx via palate. That is the oral cavity and the throat. When we pronounce any word or make any sound, we use this passage, and many muscles along with the tongue touch with each other to produce different varieties of sounds. Well, the Vedic age was much earlier to 1400 AD, separated by at least 5005 years from the time of Da Vinci. The Vedic rishis knew about this anatomy of the throat at that distant point of time. How? Certainly not through rigorous laboratory researches of the modern world, but by a long study of the observations of the symptoms. When these symptoms could be addressed, the results were obtained with the occurrences of almost no errors. In this way, they devised the positions of the three letters of Om along the whole system of speaking. That is the whole gamut of the articulation of sound. Om means A, U, The sound of the first letter A starts at the bottom of the throat. A. U in the middle, and at the end when we close the lips. The letters of the Sanskrit alphabet, 52 in number, have their places of pronunciation within this sound system. They are pronounced by the movements, closing and touching of different muscles along this pathway. The letters in the whole Sanskrit alphabet have been organized and grouped according to their places of pronunciation along this pathway. And please remember, each consonant of the Sanskrit alphabet ends uniformly with A, the first letter of Om, like the consonants Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, all A. Well, that is a different study and it is meant for the philologists. We come back to our discussion. Om is therefore the shortest way to explain how the reality or Brahman can be expressed with the help of sound that can be uttered by a human being. Aum represents the entire range of speaking. This Om is the condensed form of the creation with its myriad varieties of manifestations and expressions. The basis of all names is Om, and Brahman or Turiya is the basis of all objects or things in the universe. Each object has a name and a form. Each object has a name and a form. Om is the basis of all names, as Brahman is the basis of all forms. Om, that is a sound or a word, is the foundation of all names, because as I have said, Om covers the whole range of our speaking apparatus. A-U-Ma. So, whatever sound we may make, whatever name we may create, that should be done within the scope of this Om. Therefore, Om is the foundation of all names, and Brahman is the foundation or basis of all forms. The equation now will be all objects or forms are appearances of Brahman. Similarly, all names are appearances of Om. And Om is the name of Brahman. And Brahman is everything, therefore Om is everything. So the Upanishad mantra says, Om iti idam sarvam. Om is this everything. Now, the question will be, how can the name or a word be a thing? How can a name be a thing? Like the word sugar is not the thing. That is real sugar. It is not real sugar. When we pronounce sugar, S-U-G-E-R, it does not taste sweet. This word cannot be melted, cannot be used as sweetener to make cakes, etc. So how can the name or the word Om be Brahman or the thing? This analysis will come at the end of Omkara Vichara or analysis of Om. We will go step by step. The aim of the Mandukya Upanishad is the analysis of the entire creation in order to arrive at the reality that is the truth. It is trying to prove that the whole creation is unreal, mithya. Mithya does not mean illusion, it means unreal. Unreal means time bound. And that any unreal thing is always experienced together with a true substratum. In Sanskrit it is called adhishthanam. Every unreal thing or temporary thing or relative thing can be experienced only with a true substratum. So whenever we refer to the world or Jagat, we refer to a mixture of both real and unreal. The thing and its name. The analysis of the world means we have to separate the real part of the world and the unreal part. The information of the temporariness of the world and the permanence of the self or soul is a very powerful searchlight. This information itself is very powerful, that this world is temporary and there is a permanent self always appearing together with this temporary world experience. It is a very powerful searchlight. It has the tremendous potential to remove the darkness of our ignorance in the form of individual or organized dogmatism and its horrible descendant fanaticism. There is dogmatism in every level of our life, biological, economic, and political. When we truly comprehend that this world has only time-related existence or temporary existence, we know that all things, all possessions, all relations, and all emotions have only temporary value. We discriminate, become selfish because we take this material existence to be permanent and the be-all and end-all of our life. So this information that this world is not permanent, it is temporary, time-bound, and there is something which is permanent behind this, which is available in and through the experience of this world, then we don't accept this world to be true, and therefore we don't become fanatic, we don't become selfish. The Mandukya Upanishad teaches us how to discover the reality or realness in and through the experiences of the evident temporariness everywhere. The temporariness of the world is so evident then that one cannot miss it anytime. Each day is changing into next day. Each experience changing into next experience. Each emotion changing into another emotion. Changefulness is experienced every time, everywhere. It is so evident. In the first two mantras, a statement or proposition has been made without elaborating on the reasoning. The reasoning will be given from the 3rd to the 12th mantra. First two mantras are meant for providing us with two propositions. The first mantra spoke about Om and the second spoke about the self. Here in this mantra, the Upanishad wants to say, that in the first mantra, that the analysis of the world can be done by the analysis of Om. The analysis of the world can be achieved through the analysis of Om. How will this be possible? The Upanishad first equates this world with Om. And you will see in the Upanishad, this Om has been replaced by the word Omkara. Omkara. Om is a monosyllable word. But Omkara means Om, as I have said in the beginning of our study. Enquiry into the world is equal to the enquiry into Om. We will analyze it. Now the question comes, if both the enquiries are equal, like self-enquiry and the Omkara enquiry, Om enquiry, then which one should we choose? We don't need to follow both. The answer is we will choose Om because it is convenient. Therefore, it is wise to use Om analysis. Now the mantra number again. Let us read the meaning of this mantra. Om, this imperishable world is the whole of this imperishable world is the whole of this visible universe. Its explanation is as follows. The mantra says, what has become, what is becoming, what will become, verily all of this is Om. What is beyond these three states of the world of time, that too verily is Om. Now we go back to our earlier question. What do we mean by everything is Om? Om is a word. How can a word be a thing? We refer to our discussion of Leonardo da Vinci's discovery. Om is uttered like you open the mouth and then the sound travels within the mouth from the bottom of the throat, then larynx, palate region, etc., etc., and ends with the closing of the lips. So Om covers the whole passage which is meant for articulating any sound or word or name. Therefore, Om is the basis of all sounds. Different sounds are the basis of all different words and names. The names correspond to different things in the universe. All the names and forms are superimposed on one existence which is called Brahman. The whole world is superimposed on Brahman. Now what is this universe? It is Brahman, existence, knowledge and bliss, plus all names and forms. All names are appearances of Om, as we have said, and all forms are appearances of Brahman. Names correspond to forms, therefore Om is Brahman and Om is all. Names are within time, past, present and future. That's what towards the end this mantra says. But Brahman is beyond time. So Om too will be beyond time, because that is the name of Brahman. Now the first anomaly or discrepancy has to be addressed. contradiction. We said that all the names are appearances of Om. But please let us remember that this Upanishad did not say that Om is the name of all that exists. Rather, it said Om is all that exists. It is not the name, but it is all. It includes the name and form, everything. Now let us go back to our question, a bit reformed now. Now ask, how can a word be a thing that exists in the past, present and future? How can a mere word be all that exists? We will come to this argument later in detail. For the present, it will be enough to tell that your name, suppose John, and you are one and the same. This we have to understand. Your name, John, and you are one and the same. Name is a word and you are a person, but both of you are one and the same. You know that. Therefore, we may say you are John. You are John. You are equal to John, the word. That is to say, your name is you. Your name, John, is a word. Your curriculum vitae descriptions are also made of words. Hence, your curriculum vitae or CV descriptions are intimately and intricately connected with your name. This, your name, is connected with you, who is not a word but a person. If I call out by your name, you will come. Your name is an aid to get you to me or to reach you. So we may say that the name and the nameable or the person so named are one and the same. Let us understand it in a detailed manner. When you submit an affidavit or confession, you write, I, Mr. John, son of so and so on. I, Mr. John, am the only inheritor of the wealth of my parents. And thus goes the story. Do you complain saying, Mr. John is not the inheritor because it is a name, a word, which is made of a few letters from the English alphabet? Do you complain that? You have your money in the bank. Do you own the money? Yes. But it is in your name, which is a word. And nowadays it is digital word. So it does not belong to you. See, where the shoe pinches. This is the source of trouble and this is the solution. How? Vedanta says, name and the nameable person so named is non-different. John and you, the word John, the name John, the sound John, and you are non-different. You cannot deny that. Then you won't have any legitimate right to inherit any property, to claim the bank account to be your account. So the name, the word, and the thing or person, one and the same. They are one and the same. That is why the Upanishad first said that Om is a word and it is the name of Brahman. And each object has a name and form, and they go together. At this moment, we need to pause and deliberate on the point that the self-inquiry will be enough to know that all is Brahman. We will say self-inquiry is very easy. Why should you bring Omkara analysis, Om analysis? You don't need to bring it into the picture. The answer is, this is introduced, Shankara says, as a help or a practice. Suppose I do not know and I cannot see where you are at this moment. So I call out by your name. This is perfectly logical. And the only practical way, as I have said, to get you or to get to you. That is the only logical and practical way. So therefore, I don't know who I am. I don't know what is Brahman, the thing. But I know its name. Therefore, I take the help of this name. It is a help. And it's the most practical help. There is no other help. We should remember another thing the Upanishad says, that this Upanishad, and in fact other Upanishads too, use our own experiences to help us understand who we really are. This is the best database because all the data are my own data, my own experiences. I do not have to leave any bit of it to any hypothesis. The data are known to me, experienced by me, and I will use this data to inquire about me, to analyze who this I am. I will use my own data to know me. What a wonderful simplification. What a wonderful assurance. Still, we think it is difficult. Why? Because we are so habituated to complicate matters that when a simple method is proposed, we think it is too good to be true. It is too simple to be taken seriously. Someone said, if you say things which people do not understand, then people will think that you are a genius. Someone was told by his friend that Swami Vivekananda is a great orator. And then this person went to hear him. Afterwards, this man reported to his friend saying, what you said is not true, because I understood everything he said. Simple things are neglected this way. Mandukya Upanishad is not a difficult Upanishad. We make it difficult. The Upanishad connects the three letters of Om, that is A, U and Ma, with our own states respectively. These letters are names of the states. We have names for all objects like a pen, a piece of paper, an apple, etc. In the similar fashion, A stands for or is the name for the waking state. A is the name of the waking state. U is the name of the dream state. And Ma is the name of the deep sleep state. Sleep is complete when the mouth is not able to speak. When the lips close, Om, Om, then mouth does not speak. Then we are sleeping. We go to sleep. So the closing of the lips is symbolic to silence. I, the waker, my physical body, the waking states, interactions and experiences, all are given one common or composite name, awe. The waker, the waking instrument, the waking experiences, waking world, all these things are taken together and given the name awe. Similarly, I, the dreamer, my subtle or mental body, the dream states, interactions and experiences, all are given the name U. So awe stands for the waking state together with the waker and its experiences. U stands for the dream state together with the dreamer and his or her experiences. Again, similarly, I, the sleeper, my causal or sleep body, the deep sleep states, quietness and blankness, all are given the name Ma. So the sleeper, the sleeping body and the sleeping experience, all these three things have been given a name, Ma. In each state, the subject and the object. In each state, the subject and the object, like the knower and the known, are given one name, one letter of the three-letter Om. So each state means each pair of the subject and object relation has been given a name with one letter of Om. Now we may notice here one thing, that there is a single knower for all these states. Once again, let us recall what we said already. Each state, suppose the waking state, is complete with two things. The subject called the waker and the waker's objective world. Which one of these two is true or Brahman? The object or the subject? At this point of inquiry, the Upanishad brings into picture the fourth, Chaturtha, the Turiya. Turiya, this word. It is actually called the fourth, Chaturtha by the Upanishad. And the great Gaudapada, he introduces this word Turiya instead of Chaturtha. Turiya means which transcends. The fourth one, though intimately intermingled with all the three states, is different from all the three states with their dual reality of subject and object. Like in the case of the duality of the waker and the objective world, the Turiya is different from the waker, different from the waking state, different from the waking state objects. This consciousness or Turiya alone has three dresses. I, the conscious principle, am the fourth. I am equated with silence. More will be discussed when we study the seventh mantra of the Upanishad proper in this chapter. We have to wait till then. Now, the mantra says that Om is everything, which means and includes the creations, not only one creation, but creations that were there in the past, are now there in the present, and will be there in the future. All these creations are taken within the scope of this one Om. This way, the Upanishad spoke about the time-bound creation. It also told whatever universe exists beyond the three divisions of time is also Om. The seeming contradiction here is that it spoke about the universe beyond time. Shankara says that it is not a contradiction, because the Upanishad has referred to the universe here, which is in its causal form, seed form, which is not the express universe, manifested universe. One cannot experience time when the universe goes back to its causal state, and that is perfectly in accordance with modern physics idea. You cannot calculate time before the Big Bang. So that is an undivided state, that is causal state, the beyond time. That too is Om. And during our deep sleep, when all duality of time and space merge into oneness, we experience that state partially. The Upanishad has said that the entire universe is Om. Now we come to another part. The Upanishad said that the entire universe is Om. The universe itself is ultimately unreal. That's what we know. Therefore, we need something to support even the temporary existence of this universe. Unreal thing needs a real support to appear as real. This is the logic. We have seen vanishing colors or disappearing ink. All of us have seen. You spray the ink, pink or blue, on your white shirt, take photos of it and have proof that there was color on your white shirt. And this color really existed. True. But this vanishing color is temporary. That is why it is unreal, ultimately. It needed a real base which remained there even after the color disappeared. That is why when we say Om, we know that it is taken together with its existence or support. So Om means a mixture of both unreal universe and the real support which is known as Brahman. We have to analyze it, and that is going to come from mantras number 8 to 12 in this Upanishad. Now we will move on to mantra number 2. Mantra number 1 spoke of Om. Now mantra number 2. The second mantra is the second proposition. In Sanskrit it is called pratigna. Proposition. I propose to prove something. This is also a method of inquiry, the second method of inquiry. This is known as Atmavichara or self-enquiry. This self-enquiry is another means to our inquiry that involves an analysis of the universe, an inquiry into the reality of the universe. How do I do self-enquiry? Self is not available for inquiry, but the name of the self is available. That is the universe. So the universe inquiry is equated with our self-enquiry. Then it is good to go with one inquiry. That's what we said, because both the inquiries are equal. We will prefer to go with self-enquiry here because it is the nearest and the easiest. Earlier we preferred to go with the home inquiry because the data what we get, they are very much my data. Now here there is no data, no objective data. First let us read the second mantra. Sarvam hi etat Brahma. Ayam Atma Brahma. Soyam Atma Chatushpat. All this verily is Brahman. The self is Brahman. The self is Brahman. this self has got 4 quarters. The two inquiries, the universe inquiry and the self inquiry, are equal, same. That's what we have seen. Now the second mantra says that Sarvam hi etat Brahma. In this mantra, Sarvam word means all. Therefore, the meaning of the mantra is the universe is equal to the self. The universe is equal to the self. Because without the self, we cannot experience this universe. The next part of the mantra is Ayam Atma Brahma. This is a Mahavakya or a great saying. This self or this I is Brahman. That is the meaning. This is one of the 4 Mahavakyas, one of the great sayings. It is the Mahavakya which is the representative of the concise theme of the Atharva Veda. Wherever we find a sentence which directly talks about unity between the individual self and Brahman or universal self, that Vakya, that sentence is called Mahavakya. There are several such Vakyas, maybe around 12. But the shortest and the best of them have been selected, one from each Veda, and they have been given the name Mahavakya. So, 4 representative sentences from 4 Vedas. They are called 4 Mahavakyas. So now our equation will stand like this. All the universe is equal to Brahman, which is equal to my individual Atman. And that is the meaning of this word, sentence, Mahavakya. I am the infinite. Now let us redefine our equation from the data that we have already got from the 2 mantras. 2 now we will discuss jointly. Both the gross space-time bound universe and the causal universe that is beyond time are equal to Atman. Atman means individual self. And this Atman is the individual I. We know that both the gross and causal universes are ultimately unreal or mithya. So they should be understood to be always, as long as they exist, standing together with their support. Now our equation stands like this. The universe with its support Brahman is equal to Atman, which is again equal to I, the individual. So the universe has Brahman as its support, and that is equal to Atman, and this Atman is nothing but I, me. So I am all. I am all. If the universe is all, Brahman is all, Om is all, and Atman is equal to all this, and I am Atman, then I am all. Hence, an inquiry into me will be an inquiry into the world. If I do self-inquiry, then that will be equal to an inquiry into the world. Now the question is, how can I, a tiny individual, be everything? Well, once again, it is a proposition, pratignya vakyam. Just proposes this idea, which will be solved later. So the reason is not given here. We will see it later. Later means when all these excitements will just subside. No, it will start from the third and last part of this mantra itself, Like the Upanishad says, Soyam Atma Chatushpat. that Atman, that you have got four quarters, four parts. So Atma, that Atman, the Atma which was said to be everything by the Upanishad. I, the conscious principle, Ayam Atma, I am Chatuspat, I have got four quarters. What are the four quarters? What are the four quarters? We have to go to the next mantra, that is mantra number 3. That means we have to study, actually we have to study mantra numbers 3 to 7 together, which is not advisable to start with now with having just 6 minutes in hand. So let me pick up some points from our earlier discussions so far that will help us to understand today's discussion. I will draw your attention to just a few salient points so far as the time permits. So first thing I will remember that what we see and what we know may be sometimes contradictory because of our ignorance or because of relativity. I gave the example of the trees running to the opposite direction, and that is the idea of relativity in science. So what we understood from that, our location is important. The point of stress, that is important. We have to change our own position, our own location from the running train to the static tree. If I had sat on the tree, I would not have experienced this peculiar running of the trees. So I have to change my location. I am located on ignorance, and therefore I have to move out of it. And the way is through ignorance only. Second point that I want to highlight is that consciousness is not a byproduct of matter. Rather, after our analysis is over, we will discover that consciousness is the foundational reality behind the changeful or relative matter. That's what we have said. The vanishing color will appear on my shirt, which will never vanish. It will vanish, but it will not now. So the vanishing color is relative, temporary, bound by time and space. So beyond the changeful relative universe, there is the consciousness which is foundational reality. That's what we have seen. Third thing we have seen that the Mandukya says that the experience of the world is dependent on two things. The experiencer or the subject and the objects of experiences. The subject and the object of experiences. This will be a main point of argument when we study and differentiate, delve deep into the reality behind the three states. The subject of object experience will become very important at that time. Then the fourth point we said that what is the proof of both the subject and object? This is a question which would scare us. What is the proof of the object? That we can tolerate sometimes. But what is the proof that I exist? That may scare us. So we said, and this is a logic we expressed, that existence of any object can be proved only when it becomes a known or knowable object. So the existence of an object always depends on its knowability. Second, we have said that knowability of an object depends on a knower. And third thing we said that A knower will come into existence when I choose to know. I decide to know. Otherwise, I am not a knower. If I decide to see, I am a seer. If I decide to hear, I am a hearer. So the knower, knowability should be there to make me a knower. Therefore, both the subject, the knower, and the object, both have got dependent existence, temporary existence, which is called relative existence. And then we try to explain this with the help of that famous sentence I showed you, written on a paper. I know that I know an apple. Apple is the object. I know an apple, so I am subject. And before that also another I know is there. I know that I know an apple. I am independent of the subject-object relationship in the subordinate clause. That I know an apple. The first principal clause, I, is not dependent on the subordinate clause. And the subordinate clause also has an I, the subject and object. Both of them are dependent on I in the first principal clause. So therefore both subject and object on the right side of the sentence have dependent existence, temporary existence. In science, this I in the principal clause is called the observer, who is different from the process of reaction. Vedanta calls it the witness. It is so obvious, but so difficult to notice. We gave the example of the gold and gold ornaments, and we said that there are 3 ornaments made of gold. So how many do we have? We count 3. But the Upanishad asks us to count 4th, and that 4th is gold, which can exist without the ornaments. But the ornaments cannot exist without that gold. And that is what is called the 4th Turiya. And that Turiya has to be realized through the analysis of the 3 states: Jagrat, Swapna and Susupti, waking, dreaming and deep sleep. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, this type of analysis has been done following the method of analysis of 5 sheaths, 5 layers, Panchakosha Vichara. And here the analysis has been done following the method of analyzing our waking, dreaming and deep sleep experiences. We will come to that in our next class. Our time is up. Thank you very much once again. We will stop here with chanting of Om 3 times together.